And I believe if we're going to walk in true intimacy with God, I believe one of the expressions of that is that we're going to seek to find what is it that pleases God? What is it that brings joy to the heart of God? I believe that's God's desire for us is to find out what pleases him. The scriptures tell us that without faith, it's impossible to please God. And so when I walk in faith, I walk in a way where I'm pleasing God. When I trust God, when I listen to his word, when I walk in his commandments, I show God that I'm in love with him and that he's in love with me. And that it becomes the motivation for how I live my life. That I don't just do things because that's how I show God my love. It's because I love God, I do the right things. I believe that's God's desire for us, is that we walk in the fullness of loving him. I love the way David says it in his word in Psalm 27. He says, "One thing I have asked of the Lord, and that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, and to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple." David's saying, it's what I behold. It's what's most important to me. It's the highest value of my life, is to live in such a way where I'm gazing upon the beauty of God. Now, I don't know every story. I don't know every person listening today. You may have a relationship with God, or maybe you're listening today and this is the first time you've ever heard that you're to have a relationship with God and that you're to be in love with God. Can I tell you, if you draw near to him, he will draw near to you. If you take a step in faith towards God, he will take a step towards you. God is desiring. It says in the scriptures that he came for this purpose, to love us and to bring victory into our lives and to set us free from everything that holds us in bondage. And really, honestly, if I could just bring what loving God means down into one word, it would really simply be this: respond. Respond to God. Respond to his love. Respond to his grace. Respond to his promptings. Respond to his movings. God loves us, and his desire for us is that rather than trying to fulfill all the commands of the law, rather than trying to fulfill every jot and tittle, to fulfill every single thing, listen, you don't have to fulfill it all, because the Bible teaches us that Jesus already fulfilled it all. And if we respond to God and we let the love of Jesus lead us in our life, then we will fulfill the law by loving God. And so I just want to encourage you today to step into that first stringer, and that is to love God. Now, there are some ways to love God. The scriptures tell us in 1 John that for this is the love of God that we keep his commandments. And so one of the ways we can love God is to walk in obedience. Simply, when we obey God, we show him that we love him. We show God that we honor him. I mean, really, we live in a kingdom, and a kingdom has a king, and that king has a rule, and that rule is to be obeyed. And so that might sound harsh to somebody listening today. Maybe that's the first you've ever heard that. But at the end of the day, we serve a king who loves us, and his desire for us is to obey him. Another way we can love God is by serving. I love this verse out of Matthew chapter 25. It says this. In verse 35, it says, "For I was hungry." This is Jesus speaking. He says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we do this? When did we do all these things you're saying? When did we see you hungry? And when did we see you thirsty? And when did we see you sick or in prison?" And he goes on to say, "And the king will answer them, Truly, I say to you, as you did it to the least of these, my brothers, you also did it to me." One of the ways that we can show God love, one of the ways that we can love God with everything within us, is by loving other people.